In this video, we are going to talk about the side-side angle case of the law of sines. So this case is sometimes called the ambiguous case. The reason why it's called that is because if you're just given this information, two sides and a non-included angle, if you're given the measures of those, then that information may lead to 0, 1, or 2 possible triangles. So it's hard to know up front which one of those cases it might be. Okay, so here it's kind of a picture of the possibilities that you might have. So here we're given this side, or this angle rather, and this side and this side. It may be that this side, that second side that they give us, is too short to form a triangle, okay, at all. So in that case, you would have no solutions at all. If you have, it could also be that that second side that's given is exactly the straight line distance down to where the other side would be. And in that case, you're going to get a right triangle. Then it may be that the sides are is just long enough, longer than 90 degrees, but not too long, to where you will get 2 possible triangles. And then finally, if that second side is long enough, then you'll only get 1 triangle again. And if you want to take a look at this a little bit more dynamically, you can take a look at this link here. In this link, you can adjust these angles that you're given. I phrase these in terms of A, capital A, and little b. So A would be that angle, right, that the black side makes with this red side here. And then B would be the length of that black side there. All right, and then little a would be the side opposite this angle A, and that's this blue side right here. And then you can take a look at the 3 cases. Okay, so in this case, the length of A, it's not long enough to come back and make. It's not long enough to come back and touch this red side, so you'll get 0 triangles with that information. If you make A little bit longer, right, then it will eventually touch that red side, and you'll get a right triangle. This angle right here will be 90 degrees. So in that case, you would have 1 triangle. All right, and then if you make A a little bit longer, right, then you're going to get 2 triangles. And so just to show you where those 2 triangles would be, one would be right here with this obtuse angle, right, greater than 90 degrees. So you'd have this triangle here. That would be 1 triangle. And then the other triangle you would get is with this other side over here. With this other side, you would have this sort of outer triangle. That's the triangle that you would get. So in that case, you would have 2 triangles. And then if you keep extending that second side and keep making it longer and longer, what's going to happen eventually is that this side would have to like kind of go past where that angle A starts, and so it wouldn't even really make a triangle over there, because the angle A right here is not included in the triangle. So you just have this 1 triangle here if this side gets long enough. Okay, and so those are the possibilities. So you can see that's more complicated than the other cases here. So what I have come up with is just a procedure for handling this case, and if you follow this procedure out, then you will you can do it the same way every single time with this side angle case, right? And it will take care of all those possibilities for you. So I have this handout, and it's posted in the resources for lesson 3F. The first thing that you want to do is use the law of sines to solve for the sine of the unknown angle that is opposite one of the given sides. So you'll be given 2 of the sides, just solve for one of the angles opposite that. All right, and then to do that, you're going to have to use the inverse sine, right, to find an approximation of the angle. When you do that, there's a couple of things that will happen. Number one, if your calculator gives you an error, well, then you just stop. That's it, and the problem is over. That would be the case where you have a 0 triangle. So if your calculator errors out on that step, you know, okay, boom, there's 0 triangles, problem's done, move on to the next one. All right, so if your calculator doesn't give you an error, it's going to give you an angle, right, that is opposite one of the given sides, and I'm going to call that theta, okay, for reference purposes here. All right, and so if your calculator doesn't error, what that means is that you're either going to get 1 or 2 triangles with the given information. It is possible that you would get 90 degrees exactly, all right, and then in that case you have a right triangle. And that means you don't even need to use a lot of sines. You can just use regular right triangle trig to solve for these sides, and that's something that we did previously in this class. All right, so that was, I can't remember exactly what lesson it was, but it was I think on the first test. So on right triangle trig. All right, so if you get 90, you don't even really need to use a law of sines. If you don't get 90, right, then you need to move on to this next step. All right, and so basically from there, it kind of splits into 2 problems. You do the rest of the problem using the angle theta, all right, and that is always going to give you a solution when you do that. Then what you need to do is also do the steps, the rest of the problem for 180 degrees minus theta. So you're basically now working 2 different problems. And the first one, right, with using just theta will always lead to a solution. All right. And the second one may or may not lead to a solution. And you'll be able to tell, right, if by the answer that you get for the third angle. Okay. When you go to solve for the third angle, it will come out to be a negative number, in which case, hey, that can't be right. Okay. And so, so in that case, you'll know there's only one solution. Now, if you get a positive answer for this angle, then there are 2 solutions, okay? And so then in either case, you would find the measure of that third side in however many cases you have. You might have 1, you might have 2, okay? All right, so that's an outline of the steps to go through. And just every time I'm solving one of these side angle problems, I'm going to be working through this procedure here, okay, and doing exactly the steps in this procedure. All right, and I think that's it for the overview of the side angle. In the subsequent videos, we will work through examples of each of the cases.